Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We're reading from the second canto, chapter 9, text 1. Śrī Śukadeva Atma Mayam Vite Rajan Parasya Nupavatmanaha Agati Tarta Sambandha Swapnadrashtvarivanchasa Śrī Sukha Uvacha Bhagamayam Vite Rajan Parasya no Bhavatmanaha Nagate Tarta Sambandha Swapnadrashtvarivanchasa Śrī Śukha Uvacha Atma Mayam Vite Rajan Parasya no Bhavatmanaha Nagate Tarta Sambandha Swapnadrashtvarivanchasa
Śrī Śukadeva Atma Mayam Vite Rajan Parasya Nagate Tarta Sambandha Swapnadrashtvarivanchasa Śrī Śukadeva Atma Mayam Vite Rajan Parasya Nagate Tarta Sambandha Swapnadrashtvarivanchasa
Śrī Śukadeva Atma Mayam Vite Rajan Parasya no Bhavatmanaha Nagate Tarta Sambandha Swapnadrashtvarivanchasa.
Ladies,
Atma Mayam Vite Rajan Parasya no Bhavatmanaha Nagate Tarta Sambandha Swapnadrashtvarivanchasa. Śrī Śukadeva Atma Mayam Vite Rajan Parasya no Bhavatmanaha Nagate Tarta Sambandha Swapnadrashtvarivanchasa.
word meanings. Śrī Śukadeva Śrī Śukadeva Gosvāmī said, Atma, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Maya, energy. Vrite, soul. Anubhava Atmanaha, of the purely conscious. Na, never. Krateta, it can so happen. Artha, meaning. Sambandha, relation with the material body. Satna, dream. Drashtuhu, of the seer. Eva, like. Anjasa, completely. Srimad Bhagavatam, 2nd canto, 9th chapter, text number 1. Translation: O King, unless one is influenced by the energy of the personality of Godhead, there is no meaning to the relationship of the pure soul in pure consciousness with the material body. The relationship is just like a dreamer seeing his own body working. So you may not know what that means, or you may be thinking what it means, but Prabhupada said, without his purports, we wouldn't understand. Without your purport, you will understand. Maharaj Parikshit's question, can we? Maharaj Parikshit's question. This is the great question. The perennial question, the question everyone asks. How a living entity began his material life. How did you start your material life? Although he is apart from the material body and mind, this is being answered. This question is being answered in this way. The spirit soul is distinct from the material conception of his life, but he is absorbed in such a material conception because of being influenced by the external energy of the Lord called Atma Maya. This has already been explained in the first canto in connection with Vyasadeva's realization of the Supreme Lord and his external energy. The external energy is controlled by the Lord, and the living entities are controlled by the external energy, by the will of the Lord. Therefore, although the living entity is purely conscious in his pure state, he is subordinate to the will of the Lord in being influenced by the external energy of the Lord. In the Bhagavad Gita 15:15 also, the same thing is confirmed. The Lord is present within the heart of every living entity. And all the living entities' consciousness and forgetfulness are influenced by the Lord. What a sad situation. It's like a wealthy man living in a slum. Isn't it? We have pure consciousness and it's covered. Or sometimes the example is you're a wealthy man, but you don't know you have all this money in the bank and you don't know it. And your father or your grandfather left it to you, and he told you it's in this bank and you forgot it. And someone says you have this wealth, and you say, no, I don't. I don't have this wealth. Right? I don't have this wealth. Now the next question automatically made will be why the Lord influences the living entity to such consciousness and forgetfulness. In other words, Sometimes a question is asked. If Krishna knows everything, Krishna knows everything, and if Krishna loves us and wants us, why did he create a situation and in which we can forget him, and an energy that would make forgetting him, how should we say, possible, easy, and in fact difficult to overcome, difficult to remember him. Like, why would he wants us back? Why would he create an energy that makes it difficult to remember him? Or sometimes the men ask, Krishna, if you want me to go back to Godhead, why did you create women, especially the beautiful ones? Why did you make all the women like 300 kilos and like, 1 meter tall? Then, it'd be easy to go back to Godhead. Why did you create, beautiful women? It's not fair. And all the things we like, why did you create them? It's not fair. It's just making it really hard. And so that's... Gentlemen, do you ever think like that? Yes. It's interesting, isn't it? Krishna creates, it seems like he creates things that are almost impossible to transcend. Isn't it? And we're thinking, why? And you say you want me to go back to Godhead. Why do you make it so hard? Well, let's read on. There's another paragraph. 2 more paragraphs. The next question automatically made will be why the Lord influences the living entity to such consciousness and forgetfulness. The answer is that the Lord clearly wishes that every living entity be in his pure consciousness as a part and parcel of the Lord, and thus be engaged in the loving service of the Lord as he is constitutionally made. So that's the answer to your question, gentlemen. Krishna made women so beautiful because he wants you to go back to God. I don't understand. Well, let's read on. But because the living entity is partially independent, he may not be willing to serve the Lord, but may try to become as independent as the Lord is. All the non-devotee living entities are desirous of becoming equally as powerful as the Lord. That's the problem. Prabhupada hit the nail on the head. If you want to know your problem, you want to know all your problems, they're all connected with this one statement. I will read it again. He, which means us, may not be willing to serve the Lord, but may try to become as independent as the Lord is. All the non-devotee living entities are desirous of becoming equally as powerful as the Lord, although they are not fit to become so. The living entities are illusioned by the will of the Lord because they wanted to become like him. Like a person who thinks of becoming a king without possessing the necessary qualification. When the living entity desires to become the Lord himself, he is put in a condition of dreaming that he is a king. Like, you ever see people and they think they're really great, but they're not? They have a very high estimation of themselves. So it's something like that. Like we're all walking around thinking we're some kinds of gods. Then we're completely controlled by the 3 modes of nature. So you have to be put in an illusion to believe that you have control beyond a limited amount of control to think that you could actually compete with God. And so, because we want that, there has to be an illusion created, because if there's no illusion, you couldn't think that you could be God. Right? Like, I would come to the world to be God, and if there was no illusion, it would be obvious I couldn't do it. And I wouldn't even try, and I would just turn around and go back. Right? Oh, it's not going to work down here. But we came here to be God, so Krishna has to create an illusion so when we come down here we don't realize we can't be God, but we think we can be. And then we start acting to try to fulfill that role. So there has to be a covering of ignorance. Otherwise, if there's no ignorance, nobody would do that. It's like the king who had no clothes. There has to be some ignorance. Oh, my clothes are beautiful. Okay. Therefore, the first sinful will of a living entity is to become the Lord. And the consequent will of the Lord is that the living entity forget his factual life and thus dream of the land of utopia where he may become one like the Lord. I'll read that again for the third time. The first sinful will of the living entity is to become the Lord. Number one. And what's number two? And the consequent will of the Lord is that the living entity forget his factual life and thus dream of the land of utopia where he may become one like the Lord. So the words of the Guru, the words of Scripture, they wake us up from the dream. Hello, wake up, wake up. You're not God. You're being controlled. You're just dreaming that you're God. You can't be God. You're dreaming this is all yours. Wake up, wake up. The child cries to have the moon from the mother. And the mother gives the child a mirror to satisfy the crying. In other words, here's a mirror, and there's a reflection of the moon in the mirror. And the mother gives the child a mirror to satisfy the crying and disturbing child with the reflection of the moon. Similarly, the crying child of the Lord is given over to the reflection of the material world to lord it over as karmi and to give up in frustration to become one with the Lord after. That's the next step. When you become frustrated, then you take the spiritual life and you try to become God, which is the same thing, it's just done in a different dress. It's so interesting, isn't it? You try to enjoy everything, that didn't work, so I'll renounce everything. I want to be God, but I couldn't do it materially, so I'll renounce everything to become God. And so it's the same mentality, just a different strategy. So it looks like renunciation. But how renounced can it be? You know, it's like you see people working hard 15 hours a day to become wealthy, so it looks like they're renounced. Doing austerity, sleeping in their office. So it's similar like that. I'm so renounced. Why? So I can become God. What kind of renunciation is it to become God? So it's very interesting. It's like, we have a saying, and maybe you have the saying here, if they don't get you coming, they get you going. It's like if you don't get cheated this way, you'll get cheated that way, manipulated. So, Maya can't get you as a karmi, she'll get you as a jnani. She'll get you to renounce with the same purpose of being God. Both these stages are dreaming illusions only. There is no necessity of tracing out the history of when the living entity desired this. But the fact is that as soon as he desired it, he was put under the control of Atma Maya by the direction of the Lord. Therefore, the living entity in his material condition is dreaming falsely that this is mine and this is I. This is I, the physical, and mine is whatever a false ego claims to be mine, which is also the body. The dream that the conditioned soul thinks of his material body as I, or falsely thinks that he is the Lord and that everything in connection with that material body is mine. That's the dream. Thus, only in dream does the misconception of I and mine persist, life after life. This continues, life after life, as long as the living entity is not purely conscious of his identity as the subordinate part and parcel. In his pure consciousness, however, there is no such misconceived dream. And in that pure conscious state, the living entity does not forget that he is never the Lord. The living entity does not forget that he is never the Lord, but that he is eternally the servitor of the Lord in transcendence. In transcendental love. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So, it's really, I find it interesting how conditioned souls like ourselves, we're so proud. If you have a high IQ, you're proud of that. If you have a nice body, you're proud of that. If you're a good cricket player, you're proud of that. If you're, a good engineer, whatever it is. We easily, I buy, you like my new perfume? I'm proud of that. Is it nice? So I'm very proud. I mean, you don't have to, a new pair of shoes, I'm proud. You like my watch? I'm proud of that. Isn't it? New haircut, proud of that. It's like we're always looking for something to be proud of. And some people are very proud. But the embarrassing thing is that the thing that we're proud of, which is the body, or what's connected to the body, the intelligence or talent or beauty, that body is a sign that we turned away from Krishna. So it's actually, the thing we're proud of is in a sense an embarrassment. You may be very smart, but the fact is, you have a material body which is a manifestation of your envy, or our envy of Krishna. So it's kind of ironic to be proud of the body or anything in relation to the body, when the fact is the body is just a prison suit, and we're all in prison. Isn't it? So, Madhusudan Hari said, try to connect this verse to the chanting of japa, or the chanting of Hare Krishna. So we'll discuss the verse and also see how chanting, how that works with it. Here's the problem. And I think you're aware of this, the problem, but we need to talk about it. As we all know, Maya is very strong. Illusion is very strong. The power of illusion is very strong. Everyone sitting on that side of the room, I would guess, thinks they're a woman. And everyone sitting on this side of the room, I would guess, thinks they're a man. I don't think any of us woke up today and the first thing we thought when we looked in the mirror is, I'm pure spirit soul, not male or female. Probably. You agree? Yeah. And in case you're thinking that you don't think you're a man or a woman, that could only be true if you have absolutely no attraction to the opposite sex, because then you wouldn't be identifying with the body, right? Because if you didn't identify with the body, you wouldn't identify with anybody's body as different or attractive. So that's a test of how much we identify with the body. How much there's attraction to the opposite sex. Krishna Govinda. Yes. Better?
Yeah, we can't hear.
Govinda. The problem is when I talk loud, it distorts. Krishna Govinda Haribo. That's why I'm not talking so loud. You know that little speaker? Isn't that better?
That may not be charged.
Yeah. Yes. Can I talk so loud before it distorts? Yes? Krishna Govinda. You need a new sound system, or you need someone who knows how to run it, because it's distorting. Maybe it's not meant to go so loud.
I think not should. I just hear outside. They were not able to.
Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda. I forgot what was I saying? I forgot. Oh yeah. So just to certify that you identify with the body, if you see the opposite sex and you see the opposite sex differently than you see the same sex, then that confirms we're still in the bodily concept. Now, that's a powerful illusion. How many times have you heard, I'm not the body? Let's take a guess. Let's say, how many times a year do you hear you're not the body? Or read that you're not the body? A few hundred maybe, right? So I've been a devotee, I'm going now in my 50th year. So maybe, by the end of the 50th year, it'll be 10,000 times. That's a pretty strong illusion, that you can hear something 10,000 times and not get it. Right? When we say thick-headed, yeah, well, that's like layers of thickness, right? That's the power of illusion, isn't it? It's just amazing, right? And that's why Krishna says, Mama Maya Durateya. So Krishna's making the point that by your own intelligence, by our own power, whether we're jnanis or renunciates, we know Shastra really well, we do all kinds of austerity, still, by our own power, we can't overcome the illusion. There's in the Narada, Brihat Naradi Purana, it says something which is it's so interesting. But it makes this point very clear. It says that you will find people who've got to such a high level of spiritual consciousness that they've renounced everything in the world. Everything. Total sadhus. And then they think, just see how renounced I am. That pride. So the illusion is incredible, that even you can renounce everything and still that pride that I'm the doer, I'm the renouncer. Right? So this is what we're dealing with. There's a program called the 12-Step Program. And the 12-Step Program is aimed to help people who have addictions. It could be alcohol, it could be drugs, it could be gambling, sexual addictions, psychological weaknesses. I don't know the details, but I know about, I know a little bit about it. And one of my favorite things that they say, which applies to us here, is they tell people when they come into the program, let's say you're an alcoholic, and you're coming to the program because you can't overcome your addiction. On your own, you're too weak. And so they tell them, they say that your greatest efforts, look at where they've gotten you to. Despite your greatest attempts, you're still addicted to alcohol. So they're trying to say, you can't do this on your own, you need help. And I think we can apply that spiritually as well. You may be very, very powerful person, very intelligent, very wealthy, successful, whatever, or even a great renunciate, but look at where you've gotten by your greatest efforts. Just look in the mirror. That's what you've got, another body. By the best efforts of your last lives, you've only gotten this far. So that means that on our own, we can't get out of this cycle. That's the way Krishna arranged it. It's impossible. Yes? So, Maya is very powerful. Mama Maya Duryodhana. But Prabhupada said something, and he said Maya is not powerful. And then we have a contradiction. So that creates interest, right? We have two opposing ideas and we have to synthesize them. Someone said, Prabhupada, Maya is so strong. And we just discussed how strong Maya is. And he said, no, your purpose is not strong. So, you have two things. It's true, Maya is strong as long as your purpose is weak. And then you have no power. But Maya is weak if your purpose is strong. Mam me viye pravadyante, maya me kantaranti, but if you surrender. So I will express to you my realization. We should think we're helpless in the face of Maya. That is what Prabhupada is teaching, and we should think that way. That in the face of Maya, even by my intelligence, by my renunciation, whatever Shakti I have, whatever Siddhi I have, whatever Gyan I have, whatever Tapasya, still I am the plaything in the hands of Maya. I cannot get out. And even Arura Krichena Param Padam Tada Padam Tiro. And even I go to Brahman, I'll still fall down. I can't get out of that without the help of Krishna. So, what does that mean for us? That means to be in Maya, there must be a desire to be in Maya. There must be a desire to still engage with Maya. Something is there. That I'm playing with fire. Let's see how close we can get to the fire without getting burned. There's a funny t-shirt. The goal of the Christians is to go to heaven. I'm not sure if their heaven means Brahmaloka or spiritual world. I'm not sure. They think it means eternal life. So let's say their heaven means the spiritual world. And so in Christianity they have some rules and regulations, and they also surrender to Jesus and depend on His mercy. So there's this funny t-shirt that says, how much can I get away with and still go to heaven? It's like you go to the deity and say, what's the minimum requirement to go back to Godhead? So, if we think that way, that's why we're in Maya. Because if you want to play with Maya, Maya is looking for conditioned souls to play with. And if she finds someone to play with, she definitely will play with him. And the more you want to play with her, the more she'll play with you. And the less you want to play with her, the less she'll play with you. And when you don't want to play with her, she won't play with you. Maybe you know this example Prabhupada gives. It's very interesting. A man is embracing a tree. And he's screaming, let me go, let me go. Have you heard of that analogy before? So Prabhupada is trying to describe our position. We think Maya is embracing us, but we're actually embracing her, and we don't realize it. Because she won't, it's just like in any relationship. You have to show interest in the relationship for the person to reciprocate. So we are showing so much interest in Maya. As long as we want to be God, Krishna has to cover us and keep us in illusion to fulfill that desire. Right? Imagine it's your wedding day, right? And your wife or husband, they're so amazing, intelligent, beautiful, kind, everything you could want. And at that moment, when it's time to tie the knot, a light comes down from the sky and you get enlightenment. And you realize this whole thing is one big illusion. The curtain of Maya is completely removed, and you see reality as it is. So what do I do? Oh, we need a translator. We need a volunteer to translate in Hindi and Kannada. And they'll go in the next room and translate? What? We need Hindi? Hindi janta nahi. Kannada is happening simultaneously. So, in the next room. The funny thing is, if they can't understand English, how do you tell them in English that there's a Kannada translation? Yeah. You have to tell them. It's like asking the question, who doesn't understand English? What's a stupid question? Someone once said, I don't know if they have these signs anymore, but they used to have signs in the airport in the old days when I first came in. It said, don't spit. Don't spit. And the person said, whoever would spit can't read. Right? The world is funny. Isn't it? So, it's your wedding day. You've been looking forward to this day. If you're a girl, you've been looking forward to it for about, since you're like 5 years old. If you're a guy, you're reluctantly doing it. Maybe, or you weren't looking forward to it all your life. But finally it comes. And you decided you're going to settle down and get married. Now just imagine the curtain of Maya is full. And you have full self-realization. I'm not the body, I'm eternal soul, I'm servant of Krishna. She is not her body, she's spirit soul. The laws of nature are covering me. It's like everything that's in the Bhagavatam, you realize it and you see it. That would ruin the whole thing. Don't you think? We could make a movie like this. It'd be a funny movie, right? Instant enlightenment. And there's that. It's like Jasoda. Yeah, it's exactly what happened to Jasoda. Jasoda saw the universal form in Krishna's mouth. She saw all the planets. And she was thinking, I'm not his mother. Nanda Maharaj is not my husband. The complete illusion was gone. Right? So it would be like that. I'm thinking this is my fiancé. I'm thinking I'm, Joe Patel. I'm thinking when you go to America, you become Joe Patel. Your name is Jyotish Patel. In America, it's Joe Patel. And you open a hotel called Joe Patel's Hotel. So, it would ruin everything, wouldn't it? Like you just look at it and say, what are we doing this for? We're pure spirit soul, eternal, full of knowledge and bliss. Life is meant for pure bhakti, renunciation. And if she got the enlightenment, she'd say the same thing. She'd become a renunciate, you become a renunciate. Right? Yes? Should we make a movie? Call it enlightenment on the wedding day. You could make a little funny, YouTube, video. So let's turn it around. Let's take it the other way. your father wants you to marry this young girl. She's in the same area, the same caste, the same everything, education. And you're both enlightened. You're both self-realized. So you're both saying, what's the point? We're self-realized. We don't need this. But your father, he really wants you to get married, and the girl's parents really, what are they going to do? They have to call up Maya. So they call up Maya. Can you do something to help me? Maya says, what do you need? He said, I need them to fall in love. I need them to think they're the body. I need them to work, to, have kids, have a house, work hard their whole life, at a job they don't like. That's what I need them to do. She says, yeah, I'm good at that. I can do that. I do that all the time. Actually, that's my job. So she comes in with her magic wand. Now you think you're the body. Now you think you're the body. The goal of life is imitate God, build your kingdom, have your subjects, your children, and so forth. And it all works really well. So that's actually what happens. When we turn our back to Krishna, the illusion comes. I'm the body, I can enjoy. And then we're very happy to work very hard to achieve it. Right? And then you come to the Hare Krishna temple. And as we say, the Guru rains on your parade and tells you, you're in big illusion. You're not the body, you're not a man, you're not a woman, these things aren't yours, they're only temporary. And how are you going to enjoy anything after that very depressing lecture you just heard about how you can enjoy? You're not the body, everything's going to be taken away, your kids could turn against you. I mean, you don't know, you get run over by a truck, you come to Hare Krishna temple and hear the most depressing lectures anywhere in Bangalore. Isn't it? About how you can enjoy. And you're thinking, so I want to come back to this place again. This is depressing. But that's how you break the illusion of Maya, right? Because she creates an illusion that I can be God and so forth. And as Yudhishthira Maharaj said, as you know, that huge illusion that I'm going to live forever. You read in the newspaper, so-and-so got in an accident and died. That's so bad. It's not going to happen to me, though. Right? That will never happen to me. That's impossible it would happen to me. Right? So the point is that if you want to be an illusion, and we need to be an illusion in order to imitate Krishna and enjoy, then Maya is ready, willing, and able at any moment to facilitate it. And so she'll cover you, so that you can think you're the enjoyer. Otherwise, if she removes the illusion, there's no fun. Hey, let's go to Disneyland. Yeah, we saved our money, we're going to go, yeah. Finally, you walk into the gates of Disneyland, and Maya removes the curtain of illusion, and you look around and you go, what are we doing here? And you look on your phone, where's the nearest temple? Oh, there's a temple in Orlando, let's go. And you just walk out of Disneyland and go to the temple. Isn't it? That's what will happen. So do you understand now how Maya can only work with you if you're willing to be, if you're willing to allow her to illusion you, then she's okay. You want to be illusioned, then that's my job. I'm the master illusionist, and if you're willing, I will illusion you. So, when Prabhupada said, Maya is not strong, but our intention, our purpose is weak, I interpreted that, and I came up with a little saying. It said that Maya will never visit you without an invitation. Sometimes we say Maya is so strong, but we should remember we invited her. Maya, why are you doing it? Okay, let's do a play, right? The devotees in Maya, right? He goes, Maya, why are you doing this to me? It's not fair. You're illusioning me. You're forcing me to act. I can't control myself. And what does Maya say? Why are you blaming me? You invited me. You invited me over. I never go anywhere without invitation. Does that make sense? You understand? Okay, next door there's a pure devotee. Does Maya go knock, knock, knock? No, she sees, oh, inside's a pure devotee. Why should I waste my time with him? I can't illusion him. He doesn't even want me. There's nothing we can do together. It's not going to be fun, right? Just like you want to play football, and your best friend doesn't like football. You're not going to go ask him to play football. You know he's going to say no. So Maya, in the same way, doesn't waste time with a pure devotee. She only comes to the home of those who dial her number and say, can you come over? She goes, okay. So whenever you say Maya is strong, you always have to realize, no, it's not exactly like that. In fact, Prabhupada said, Maya wants you to go back to Godhead. And she'll help you go back to Godhead. She's very happy if you get out of illusion. If you get out of illusion, she's not going to say, oh, I failed. I'm so depressed. This is a bad day for me. She's going to be happy. Because her ultimate purpose is to frustrate us in a way that we renounce and become Krishna conscious. Yes? So, now let's relate this to japa, the Maha Mantra. One of the meanings of the Maha Mantra that Prabhupada gave in 1968 was, please accept me. Krishna, please accept me. So what does that mean? Well, please accept me means I turn my back on you. It's not like, excuse me, sir, I don't know you. Would you accept me? No, it's not like that. Like, you remember me? Yeah, I'm the one who turned my back on you and spent the last 4 zillion years in the material world trying to imitate you. Yeah. Do you remember me? Yeah. It didn't work. Would you accept me back? Yeah. So that's the mood, right? But there's a problem. What happens if you do something over and over and over again? It becomes a habit. And that habit can not only be physical, it can be a mental habit, a way of thinking. You know, if you try to change someone's way of thinking, it's not always easy because, try to change the thinking of your grandfather. Right? You give him a cell phone and he's like, no, Grandpa, it's like this. It's like, why do I need this? I've lived my whole life without a phone. It's like, isn't it? Or, Grandpa, why don't you read the news on one of these? What do I need one of these for? I've been reading the newspaper every day since I was 6 years old. Why do I need this? So, you see that with older people. Their habits are, your grandfather and grandmother eat the same thing for breakfast every day, right? They've been eating that same thing. So who knows how long, right? You say, why don't you eat this for breakfast? No, this is what I eat. Right? That's the way habits work, right? You probably do the same thing. What to speak of a habit that's been cultivated over lives, the same habit. We're not talking about one life. Only takes like 3 months to get addicted to anything, right? You're all addicted to your phones. How long did that take? A few days. So imagine, lifetimes of cultivating this, right? So here's the problem, and this is the biggest problem for all devotees, and one of the most frustrating things that we all experience. We have this habit, which is I want to be God, in some way, more or less. Some of us are less trying to be God, some are more trying to be God, but we're all trying in some way. And then you understand this philosophy. And at that point you think, I'm sick of trying to be God. I want to become Krishna conscious. Right? And actually, that's what the Maha Mantra means. The Maha Mantra means basically, Krishna, I'm sick of competing with you and I want to be your servant. But it means something else also. This problem, this difficult problem we face, that habit we've cultivated for millions of years, millions of lifetimes. That I'm the enjoyer, I am the controller. So we understand, we're not the enjoyer, we're not the controller. We understand that, right? You were taught that very early on in your bhakti. But just like in my 50th year, it's still difficult to understand I'm not the body. Similarly difficult to understand I'm not the enjoyer and controller. So now we're chanting Hare Krishna, saying, Krishna, I want a relationship with you. Please accept me. I turn my back on you. I want to turn towards you. I want to make this work. And this conditioning comes in there. And what is that conditioning doing? It's exactly the opposite frequency of that prayer and that desire. Yes? You all have experience with that? Isn't it frustrating? You have this thing going on. Intellectually, I understand. And I've experienced the frustration of trying to imitate Krishna. And I'm chanting and praying, Krishna, please, please, awaken in within my heart this desire to serve you. I am sick of serving life. And we have thousands of lifetimes of that habit of serving life to overcome. That's the paradox. And that is the mood of chanting. Because we're helpless. Because we can't overcome that mentality without mercy. So when we're chanting, we're praying for the mercy to overcome the mentality so that what I think and what I feel becomes the same. Because now, I would like to be Krishna conscious. I know I should be. But there's this whole other world inside of me that's going the other direction. And so, the mood of japa is, Krishna, I don't want to go that direction. I want to go your direction. But there's this force against me that keeps pulling me away from you. And so I'm praying, give me mercy so that my desire will be to serve you, not to run away from you. That's what the Maha Mantra means. And what is so wonderful about that is the Maha Mantra means exactly what we feel. It's not artificial. When you become a devotee, that's how you feel, isn't it? So it's so easy to align yourself with the meaning, or we could say the frequency of the holy name, the energy of the holy name. It's so easy to align ourselves with it because we exactly feel that way. That's our condition that we live with every day of our life. Krishna, I want you, and I don't want you. Krishna, I want you, and I want Maya. And if both are pulling at me in opposite directions, and I'm going crazy. I don't want this Maya, but it's there in my heart, it's pulling me. Hare Krishna, please, Krishna, get me out of this trap. So it's a very helpless mood when you're doing. So, what I would like to say in conclusion is, if you remember this when you chant, you can immediately enter in that mood because you're already in that mood all the time anyway. Maybe it's subtle and you're not consciously aware of it all the time, but we're always in that, isn't it? So if you just remember that, that's what the Maha Mantra means. Give me the strength to go against my own self, my own mind, my own conditioned desire, because I can't do it on my own. Then you can enter perfectly into the mood of japa and have some amazing experiences with Krishna. What do we say, the 12-step program? This is the best I could do on my own. So, here I am. This is the best I can do on my own. So, Krishna, I need your help to do better. Right? Does that make sense? So the only problem you're going to face is whether you actually want that. And you might say, yes, Prabhu, it sounds good, I want it, but I'm not quite ready to want it yet. I still need some exploration of Maya a little more. So if you want to explore more Maya, then your intensity of japa, the frequency will be decreased. Right? But if you come to the point, and Prabhupada is trying to bring us to the point through his books, that this is what I want, this is all of what I want, and anything else I want is just in relationship to Krishna to satisfy my material needs so that I can just want this, then you can chant well. Okay, I want a car, I want a home, I want this and that. Okay, once you get that out of the way, what's left? Krishna, I want you. I want to go, yeah, I'm hungry. It's hard to want you. When I'm hungry, let me eat. Now I want you. Okay, so you fulfill your needs. Now I can focus on that I want you. And so the more you align with that mood, the better your japa. And you can immediately invoke that mood because it's your mood, isn't it? Isn't it your mood? So why don't we stop here and you can ask some questions? Because devotees in Bangalore are famous for questions. They can ask more questions per minute than any other city in India. Did you know that? I'm serious. I mean, I'm not criticizing. I think it's a good thing. Yes.
When Bhagavad Gita 15.15 also that Krishna makes forgetfulness and remembrance.
Yeah.
But here it's like indirectly also mentioned that external nature, material nature does that. So Krishna actually creates the illusion or material nature creates the illusion?
Well, Krishna works. He's asking, how does this Krishna gives you remembrance, knowledge? He works. You know, they work together. Because yes.
When Krishna says that he directly controls any, then what is the role of Krishna directly?
What's the role of Krishna? What's the role of Maya?
Yeah, when Krishna directly says that he controls the remembrance and forgetfulness.
Yeah, but he can employ Maya to do the work, to forget, to cause us to forget. He can do it either way. But generally, forgetfulness is due to the covering of the modes of nature. What time do I finish? Repeat it. Yeah, I was trying to understand the question. The question is, does Maya cover us or does Krishna cover us? Is that the question?
Yeah.
Yeah. Generally, we understand philosophically that it's Maya, under the control of Krishna, because that's. But of course, if Krishna wants to put his hands over our eyes, he's free to do that. And as Paramatma, he can do that. But generally, the covering is the laws of nature, which is under the control of mind. That's how we're covered. So he covers us because really, what that verse is saying, it's saying Krishna is reciprocating with what we want. So if you want to forget him, he'll arrange for you to forget him. It's just, yeda tamam prapajante. That's really what it's saying. So, that's the general way Krishna works through his demigods and other servants. So, now, you could say for a devotee, he works personally. He'll create a personal illusion for you that's just perfectly tailored to your needs, to cause you complete frustration and suffering, so that you'll come back to him. Whereas for non-devotees, they want to enjoy, so why would Krishna do that? He would create the ignorance so they could fully absorb themselves in Maya. But he wouldn't want to do that for you. For you, for us, if you want the ignorance, he would create the ignorance in a way that would turn you around. That would cause so much unhappiness or frustration that it would turn you to Krishna. So you could say he's more personally involved with his devotees. Prabhupada does describe that. Krishna likes to be personally involved with his devotees.
At what level? Of what level of devotees?
No, all devotees. A sincere devotee. Anyone, sincere meaning anyone who wants to be Krishna conscious. If you want to be Krishna conscious, Krishna will definitely be involved with you. You want to hear a story? It's an amazing story, and although it's a story about a death of a godbrother who just died last week, it illustrates this point. So we have a godbrother in Alachua, and I live in Alachua, and I'm friends with him, somewhat close. And we got a message last week that he died on a motorcycle accident in Alachua. Wow, shock. It's like my age, kind of a shock. Healthy, works hard, not in any way like an old man, but very youthful and energetic. And so the next day, we got more information. There was a Rath Yatra festival truck. It's this big, huge, like your big trucks, 18-wheel truck, and it has all the displays in it. That was the truck that hit him. Number one. He knocked him off his motorcycle, and he fell into the front yard of a devotee. And that devotee in their front yard plays Prabhupada Chandra Japa. So he fell into, but somehow or other got hit by a devotee truck, fell into the front yard of a devotee's house while the japa was going on, and then all the devotees in the family came out and chanted. Now, what chance of that in a million lifetimes of that happening? And there's some background information to the story, that he was a little bit up and down in his devotional service, but at this point, he was at a high point. He was chanting 32 to 64 rounds every day. So he's in really good consciousness, which is a good time to leave, right? Better leave when you're in good consciousness than bad consciousness. So that's Krishna personal involvement. So Krishna does personally take care. Something happened to me recently like that, where, anyway, we all have these experiences where something happens and it's just, you understand, Krishna just prevented you from making a big mistake, or you started to make a mistake and he stopped you, or something happened, right? So that's Krishna's personal involvement. Prabhupada gave the example that the king, his duty is to take care of the citizen, but personally he'll take care of his devotees. So you know the story of Akbar Birbal, and Akbar says, why does your God come personally to save his devotees? Why does he have to come? Akbar didn't understand that. God's all powerful. He can save his devotees, through his servants or whatever. Why does he have to come? So Birbal said, someday I'll tell you. And so one day they're walking, long after this happened, one day they're walking, and Akbar sees that his son is playing on a boat in the lake, and it's all surrounded by his security man, his military man. All of a sudden, the boat turns over, and his son falls in the water, and Akbar runs as fast as he can, jumps in the water, saves his son, only to find out it was just a diorama. And he was really mad. He was yelling at the boatman. He says, what kind of joke are you playing on me? And the boatman said, it's not me, it's Birbal. And so he said, Akbar said, this isn't funny, And then he said, you once asked me, why does God come to personally save his devotees? He said, you had so many people surrounding this lake, any one of them could have saved him. You didn't ask them, you ran in yourself. And that was the answer to the question. Now Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that Krishna likes to serve his devotees. That's one of his pleasures. Ananyas chintayan dhammo ye jana paripasute tesham nitya yogakshema vihamyam. He likes doing that. So you're saying, okay, Krishna likes to serve his devotees. Where's my Lexus? Where's my Mercedes? I'm still on a 12-year-old scooter. And every time I'm on the scooter, I'm meditating on my Lexus. So if Krishna really loves me, where's the Lexus? I don't believe in this purple. The paradox sometimes is that Krishna gives it to you when you no longer want it. Because then you won't get affected by it. Like you still want it, but you don't want it. Something like that. It's like you don't need it anymore. Krishna says, okay, now you don't need it, you're detached. It's time to give it to you. And if I give it to you before, and I think it's going to cause you a problem, I won't give it to you. But he's always dying to serve his devotee. So when you become a pure devotee, then Krishna, he has a festival, because now he can serve you in so many ways, and it won't have a negative effect. And of course, a pure devotee doesn't want to be served, but Krishna loves to serve them. So he's, personally involved. And he knows what his devotees want. No, let's say you want to become famous. But Krishna knows if you become famous, it's going to go to your head. But let's say someday, you become completely detached. Then Krishna says, okay, time to make you famous. Because now you can use that fame for me, and you'll use that to preach. Right? Yes? So if Krishna is going to cause you to forget or cause any kind of so-called problem, he'll do it in a way that will cause you to remember. In a way that will be helpful. And you can pray also. If you're in illusion, you can pray, Krishna, please remove this illusion. It's so strong, I can't overcome this on my own. Please remove it. Tadami Buddhi Yogam Tam. Give me that Buddhi Yogam. I need Buddhi Yogam. Because right now I have a Buddhi Yogam. I need Buddhi Yogam. So we can pray like that. So that's the mood of chanting. It's a kind of a helplessness. It's a realization. On my own, I'm not strong. I asked the devotees yesterday, a few days ago, in Mayapur, we were walking. I said, so, imagine we drop you off on an island, and that's where you're going to be the rest of your life. And there's going to be no devotees there. How Krishna conscious do you think you'll be? And most of the devotees said, I probably wouldn't be Krishna conscious. Or we'll drop you off in a city, that would be worse. We'll drop you off in a city, 10 million people, no devotees, and no way to get on the internet. You'll never see a devotee the rest of your life. You'll never hear a lecture by a devotee the rest of your life. Wow. So everybody said, I don't think I'd be a devotee. I just asked them that question just to affirm how weak we are. Right? Like we're very weak. I'm a good devotee, I chant my rounds. I'm a tough guy. Yeah, we'll take all the devotees away. Even the devotees you don't like. Take them away also. You want them to go away anyway. Okay, we'll take them away also. But realistically speaking, if we took all the devotees away, even if you could get association of someone you didn't like, you'd take it. Because without that association, right, you couldn't make it. So it was just a question to realize how weak we are. And so, in realization of how weak we are, when we chant with a great dependence, that I need mercy. And that mercy is amply given in the Holy Name. Yeah? You get a lot of mercy in the Holy Name. So we're chanting, Krishna give me mercy, because I'm weak. And if you think you're not weak, why would you ask for mercy? You don't need it. You're fine the way you are. Or, if you like being in Maya, why would you ask for mercy? Because if you ask for mercy, then Krishna might ruin your Maya. So, if you like being in Maya, don't chant good rounds. It'll get in the way. Isn't it? You know the saying, this was a Christian saint, please give me celibacy. but not yet. Krishna, please, 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 I just want to surrender, please, please, please. But can you do it in 10 years? I need to enjoy it first. Yeah. So we want to come to the point of wanting pure devotional service and realizing our dependency on Krishna. Like we can't do it on our own. We are weak. Now, this purport is all about how weak we are. Yes? Any brahmachari who gets married and gets a job can experience the difficulty in being Krishna conscious in that new environment. As a brahmachari, he might have thought, he's invincible, right? He's in the shelter of the temple, preaching, and it's quite easy in that environment, and you might think you're stronger than you really are. But then when you get out in the world, in that environment, then you start to understand, whoa, I wasn't as strong as I thought. Isn't it? So, ladies and gentlemen, we are helpless. The frequency of the Maha Mantra is the devotee is praying. I'm helpless. I can't do this on my own. It's impossible. We were talking today at the other temple in the south about the mercy of Nityananda. And I was saying that there's one thing, there may not be an advantage to being born in America, but there's one advantage for sure. That we can see Americans who have never heard of Krishna come to a temple and get transformed like that in a few days. And we can see the mercy of the holy name. With you it's harder to see because you're already kind of in the culture. But someone who never heard of Krishna, and you see them become a devotee in a week, and a week later, I'll tell you a funny story. I was in Mexico. We were doing a workshop on relationships, and this boy was just walking down the street, and the son devotee invited him in. And he said everything in the workshop was totally relevant for him. So he said, come the next day for Bhagavatam class. So he came the next day for Bhagavatam, sat there, listened to the whole class, took prasadam. Then we went on a japa walk. We gave him some beads. He went out with us on a japa walk. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. I mean, if you saw him, you would think he's a normal devotee. It was the second day, chanting japa, just like he's a devotee. And then he came back the next day and the next day. And every program I did, he came to, and he just became a devotee, kind of by accidentally walking in the temple, just like that. When you see that happen, then you understand the power of the holy name, how it can transform. Yes? And we see that all the time in the West. We see this mercy. So we understand what mercy is. Any more questions? Yes? Let me repeat. Devotee says Maya is strong, or Prabhupada says our purpose is not strong. So,
when we have a desire of having fun or little bit not so strong on serving Krishna, we see the immediate effect of Maya and
like a scale. Less desire to serve, more Maya, more desire, less Maya.
When we have a desire to serve Krishna, that effect doesn't come through.
Say that again?
We have a desire to take Krishna not so seriously. The effect comes very fast.
Yeah, we don't. Yeah, we're not serious, and so.
And when we have a desire to serve Krishna, that effect doesn't come so easily. That takes time. Why?
Oh, the desire to serve Krishna doesn't come so easily. The desire not to serve comes easily, but the desire to serve doesn't come so easily. Yeah, you know why? Just what we were saying. It's the price. It's like, okay, I've been in the material world for millions of lifetimes, and then I become a devotee, and I think, okay, in 3 weeks I'll become self-realized. It's like we have to pay a price for all that Maya. You can't get out easy, right? I heard a story it was by a Buddhist. So he was a Westerner, and he became a Buddhist, and his Buddhist teacher gave him a mantra, and he said, like, chant this mantra like hundreds of thousands of times every day. And he said, why do I have to chant so much? He said, because every day for millions of lifetimes, you've got mantras going through your head. I'm the controller, I'm the enjoyer, I'm the controller, I'm the enjoyer. So it's going to take millions of mantras to counterbalance that. But the lesson to learn from that is once you understand this, don't go back into Maya and then, rejuvenate those old bad habits. Because every time you do, you're connecting with that bad habit. And in the alcoholics program, they say, once you get off alcohol, you can never take one drop again. Because if you take one drop, you'll drink more. So, we're conditioned. And so if you feed into that conditioning, it's so strong, it weakens us. So we have to be careful. But you have to accept the fact that you're highly conditioned, and it's going to take time. So don't expect it all to happen so quickly. But don't be discouraged. Because no matter how conditioned you are, you can still have a nice dear time, right? You can still relish the class, you can relish something, all these things are relishable. Yes? Even in your conditioned state. But this is a price we all have to pay. You're going along in your life and everything's nice, and all of a sudden some crazy desire enters your heart, and you're like looking around like, who threw that in my heart? Who's that demon that put that desire in my heart? That's not my desire. No, that was your desire for 10 million lifetimes. Nobody put it there. It was just, something aroused it. So we have to accept that. And so the challenge is how to be enthusiastic in spite of that reality of our conditioning. That even though I have so many desires that aren't really Krishna conscious, how can I remain enthusiastic and determined in spite of it? That's what we have to learn. Otherwise you get discouraged and impatient. So, if you don't become Krishna conscious, what else are you going to do? Go back to do what you were doing before? Try to do it a little bit, not too much. It's a little Maya, but not enough to get burned. How are you going to do it? Right? I'll hold the chapati over the flame, but I'll make sure it doesn't get brown. That's hard, right? A lot of us are like, on one hand, we're doing our sadhana, and the other hand, we're undoing our sadhana. Isn't it? Okay, those are the good rounds, let's watch a movie. I deserve a movie. I chant a good round. I deserve a movie. Isn't it? Or I chant a good round so I could take a movie and not be affected. So we're doing it, doing sadhana, and undoing sadhana. So, the point is we're weak, and so we have to understand we're weak. And so that conditioning is going to be there. But don't feed into it. I mean, you don't know. I mean, maybe you do, but Prabhupada was like, he was so strict about sadhana. Because he just looked at us, and the way I think Prabhupada looked at us was like, you're doing really good now, but Maya could blow you over in 1 second if you're not careful. Like a piece of cotton. Boom. Yeah. That's the way I felt Prabhupada saw us, Just look, you're in the sadhana hospital. You're being taken care of. You go out on the street, you're going to get sick. You're just not that strong. So he would always be strict about sadhana. And then he'd say, yeah, you Westerners, you think like Maya's not a problem. You can play with Maya. No, you don't understand the power. So let that be a lesson to the power of Maya, that conditioning that you have. Just a reminder, yeah, I'm very conditioned. I piled tons of dirt in my heart for millions of lifetimes. Yeah, there's a lot of dirt there. When Prabhupada saw how difficult it was for us, one time he joked, he said, trying to purify you is like trying to wash coal. Go, if you want to realize what Prabhupada said, get some coal and try to wash it. And it's just going to make a big mess everywhere. Someone has a question. Yes? Well, how to understand devotees years in the movement, then they leave and give up Krishna consciousness? Oh yeah. How is it that, yeah, there may be many reasons. The first thing that Prabhupada said was, if a great devotee falls down, we're supposed to think, if he can fall down, what about lowly little old me? That's the first thing we think, right? The second thing I would think is that no matter how long you've been in Krishna consciousness, until you're on the level of prema, you could make a wrong turn. You could offend a devotee, or you could somehow or other give in to some anartha that you've been suppressing your whole life. I told this, I think I told last night to the devotees here that in the Madhva Sampradaya in Udupi, they discovered that the most difficult time for sannyasis, the ones who took sannyas when they were young boys, is the ages of 50 to 65. So it kind of answers your question. Who would think 50 to 60? You made it that long as a sannyasi. Who would think? But what those acharyas were saying is that those dormant desires that were unfulfilled, that's the age they manifested. It's incredible, right? You would expect a sannyasi to fall down before they're 30 or 35, not at 65. After, taking sannyas at 14 and falling down at 65. So, maybe there were unfulfilled material desires that they should have fulfilled. That's possible. Neglect of sadhana, that's possible. Offenses to devotees, the holy name, to the Dham, to the deities. Anything's possible. But to me the lesson is, you're secure only because you do the right thing every day. And if you do the wrong thing, you can't think that you're secure if you don't do the right thing every day. Does that make sense? So that's the lesson. Don't feel you're secure unless you do the right thing. The example I would give is, let's say you're very healthy, every day you run like 10 kilometers and you take juices and herbs and you're a powerhouse, right? And then you decide, let's go eat fast food and let's not exercise for a while. Then in a few weeks, you're in bad shape. So then everyone says, how is it that she was running 10 kilometers a day and now we can't even get her to walk a kilometer? She gets out of breath. She neglected to take care of herself. So a very healthy person can become sick. A very sick person can become healthy. But I think it's important to think like that. If someone you've respected as an elder devotee has trouble, just think. This is testament to the power of mind. And I have to be careful. Yes? We're not supposed to? We're not supposed to blame Maya. It's our fault. Yes, our design. Not Maya's, never Maya's fault. No. She wants me to say sometimes. I won't say sometimes. You could say it's Maya's arrangement, but it has to be, there has to be something that she can engage within us. If there's only pure bhakti, there's nothing to engage. So there has to be something.
So it
Maya is Krishna's mercy because Maya is Krishna's arrangement to frustrate us. Okay, look at it this way. I do videos every day. I don't know if you know this, but if you go to my Facebook, every day there's a new video. And I was doing this topic on one video. And so the title of this video is, if you could be perfectly happy, like everything is perfect, your wife doesn't talk back. That's about as perfect as it can get, right? Your husband's always nice. Can you imagine? Does a world like that exist anymore? You have all the money you need, the weather's never too hot, it's never too cold, everybody's nice. Your mother-in-law is actually nice to you. Could you imagine a world like this? There's no problem. You love your job, you love your boss. There's never any traffic in Bangalore. The air is pure. You know, your work week is like 3 days, 5 hours a day. I mean, it's like amazing. Okay, it's just like, and you are so happy. Everything is perfect. If it were like that, my question to you is, would you be here right now? And this is the answer to the question of why Krishna creates misery. He creates misery because he loves you. And he wants you back, and he knows there is no way he can get you back unless he pushes you from behind. Because forward, you're not pulling forward. He has to push you. Now, when you achieve a higher state, like stage of ruchi and above, Krishna doesn't have to push you behind because you're being pulled by your taste. But until you have a taste, what's going to engage you in Krishna's service? Right? At least initially, in the very, very beginning, it's going to be pushing. Then as you advance, you get pushing and pulling, and more advanced, no pushing, just pulling. But even in Prabhupada's case, he said he got pushed, take sannyas, ruin your business. But that's transcendental, that's different. But usually in the higher stage, it's all pushing. So, when you look at it this way and you think, why did Krishna create this problem for me? So the way I look at it is like this. You have all these problems. You think, God loves me, I'm a devotee, and why did he do this and that? You finally go back to God and you say, Krishna, it's good to see you, but I'm dying to ask you this question. Why did you, make me break my toe, and my husband was such a jerk, and my, kids, turned against me, and my boss was such a control freak, and this city used to be nice, and now it's hell on earth. And Krishna says, because if I didn't do that, you wouldn't be here right now. That's the answer. Yes? All the things you don't want to happen, Krishna's saying, if I don't make them happen, you would have never got up here. You'd still be down sitting in your penthouse on some nice beach in Kerala, thinking, this is the best thing that ever happened. Thinking, I'm God on earth. And that's why the demigods have such a hard time. It's too good. So, we want to play with Maya, so Maya goes, okay, let's play. Smash, bang, boom. But she wants you to be Krishna conscious, so that's why she's doing that. And if you go, Maya, I surrender to Krishna, and go, thank God. Out of my hands, he's all yours. That's what she does. Yes? Enjoyment is also Maya? Is that what you said? Okay. The non-devotees are not enjoying, or we think they're enjoying? Or they think they're enjoying. Some of them think they're enjoying. Some of them know they're not enjoying. Right? For the non-devotees, yeah. She's definitely, Maya's definitely trying to help everybody. but some people are not helped. They're not good candidates to be helped yet. You know, I give you an example. You have to have some fortune, you have to have some piety, because so many people are suffering and they don't come to the conclusion that, oh, maybe there's something better, maybe I should take the spiritual life. They just come to the conclusion, I guess I need more sense gratification. You know, I was only drinking one beer, maybe I need 2 beers. Isn't it? So that's their solution. You know, well, I'm suffering, maybe I just need more money, or maybe I need to divorce my wife, or whatever. So they're going to have to get beaten enough over many lifetimes, so that's beaten into the consciousness that one lifetime they'll realize that this doesn't work. So it's a slow process for some. Because we are told everyone eventually goes back to Godhead, it's just they go at different times. So what we take from this is we should not be stupid, and so when we're being beaten, we should think, hey, I'm being beaten. This is not intelligent. Or I should stop doing things that are causing me to be beaten. Right? And if I am being beaten, we should think, I'm so fortunate and unfortunate. I'm so unfortunate that I'm not Krishna conscious enough that Maya has to beat me, but I'm so fortunate that she is beating me because she's pushing me back to Krishna. You know, you want to make this country beautiful and wonderful. Imagine in the future India became like America. So many less people would come to the temple. Better it stays like it is. Crowded streets, dirty air, you know, long hours, you know. Keep people coming to the temple. Yes? Okay, let me tell you a story. I don't know if I told these stories before. So, I was in California. California is a nice place, Southern California. Hollywood, Los Angeles, ocean, beaches. It's a nice place. And I got a call from a godbrother. He said, come to South Africa. We need a temple president. I said, South Africa, since 1981, was, I think, the 3rd richest country in the world. It was just gold and diamonds. You know, there's diamonds all over the beach. Everywhere you dig, there's gold. It's like amazing. And he said, but there's one problem here. He said, no one but the Indians will become devotees. I said, why? He said, it's too nice. I said, how nice can it be that California's nice, we make so many devotees. You'll see. So I came over there. And you know what I found? It was so nice, nobody became devotee. But we did make a few devotees, but they couldn't stay. It was just, their life was too nice. Now, South Africa, it's completely different. When you go over there, so many white devotees are there. No problem, they're just regular, no problem. But in those days, they had such a hard time. It was too nice. Hare Krishna. It looks like Yamaraj is coming. Madhusudanari, did you get the Japa books?
Yes.
Okay. So, the problem is we only have 150 of these books. And I'm not this, believe me, this is not an advertisement to sell this book, because I should have sent more books here, but you know, they're going to sell out. And maybe we'll ship more books. But this is a book which is based on my Japa workshop. And so I took all the principles in the Japa workshop and I turned them into affirmations. And it's very small because, you know, I don't recommend putting things in your bead bag, but you can put this in your bead bag. I authorize this. Or if you have a pocket, if you get a bead bag made, have them make a pocket this size. And you can slip in your pocket and you can just read one of the affirmations. I'm totally dependent on Guru and Krishna to chant quality japa every day. And so you go into that mood and you chant or you read another affirmation. I fully honor my sacred relationship with the holy names during japa. And a lot of this you all know because you've been to the workshop. So that's what this book is. It's meant to put you in the mood, the right mood. And I did not publish this book. It was published by someone else. I had no intention of doing this book. The devotee said, just give little talks on each affirmation. We'll transcribe it and we'll make a book. No idea. This by far will be the best-selling book I think I ever write. It's the devotees are, they say it's helping them so much. So, like I said, this is not a sales thing because we're going to sell out anyway. But if we do sell out, the books are in Mumbai, we can get more ships, and then you can buy more also. There's still like 1,000 or 800 left and so on. So we have these, and then we have some CDs of my workshops, some. And then I have a little USB stick, and I put all my music on that stick. So it has 8 CDs on it. So the CDs are 100, and the one with 8 is only 325. What a deal, oh my God. If I were you, I'd get one. And we actually don't have many of those. And then I have another stick, which is it's about this size, and it has all the music, and it has about 16 or 17 workshops. So, and there's a poster out there that shows you all the workshops it has, but I actually put more workshops on after. I manipulated, so there's like 17 workshops now. So if you're interested in those are 1,000. They're 16 gigabytes, so they cost a little bit, and we have them shipped from China. So there's a little expense there. But if you think that's a lot, maybe this will make you feel good. In America, they're $35. So $35 is how much? 2,800 rupees or so? Is it? 2,800? Approximately. So if you're crying and you want to get it and you think it's too much, you can just meditate on 2,800. The 2,800 rupees you have to pay in America today. And if you're really dying and you really want it and you think it's too expensive, just give what you can. I'll give you a discount. But don't give too little because those are not so cheap to buy. Okay? So that's all I have to say, and he has to say something. Or he has to say many things. And oh yes, so tomorrow night at what time? 7:30? So we're going to do japa tomorrow night at 7:30, and then starting Tuesday at 8. From 8 o'clock till 2 we're going to do japa. And then Wednesday night we're going to do japa. Thursday night we're going to do japa. Friday night we're going to do japa. And Saturday night, what are we going to do? We haven't decided yet. So we're trying to kind of create a japa workshop of sorts. So it's going to give us like 15 hours or something like that. So not a complete japa workshop. And we want to focus on chanting more japa. So especially on Tuesday, we're going to chant more rounds. So that's what I'm doing here while I'm here. And that's what he was going to say. So now he doesn't have to say it. Right? Maybe he has to say it in Kannada, or I don't know.
No, we have to do some other.
Finish.